Unusual kangaroo visitors. Life in suburban Australia. If you've ever been surprised by a kangaroo hopping past your backyard fence, you're not alone. Today we're going to explore why kangaroos sometimes show up in suburban backyards in Australia, what it means for day-to-day life, and how Australians are living side by side with one of the most iconic animals in the world. This is going to be both informative and a little bit entertaining, so stick around until the end. And before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and comment below if you've this kind of experience in your street or backyard. We'd love to hear your story. So, why do kangaroos end up in backyards in the first place? It's not like they have a GPS that guides them into people's gardens, right? The answer lies in how Australian cities and suburbs are designed. Unlike many countries where urban expansion pushes wildlife far away, in Australia, suburbs often grow right into natural kangaroo habitats. Houses are built next to bushland, reserves, and even farmland. To kangaroos, the difference between their land and our land isn't always clear. If they see a patch of green lawn or smell fresh water from a garden hose, that's basically an invitation. Another reason is food and water. Kangaroos are grazers, and many suburban backyards look like perfect buffets for them. Imagine being a kangaroo. You've got a stomach designed to chew through grass all day, and suddenly you find yourself staring at a backyard with neatly cut, irrigated lawn. That's like walking into an all-you-can-eat restaurant with no entry fee. During droughts or hot summers when water is scarce in the wild, kangaroos also wander closer to houses in search of water bowls, bird baths, or even a dripping garden tap. But of course, kangaroos aren't just hungry wanderers, they're also incredibly mobile. With strong legs built for covering long distances, hopping into a backyard isn't a big deal for them. In fact, suburban streets can sometimes act like highways for kangaroos, connecting bushland on one side of town with open paddocks on the other. And since many suburbs in Australia are built with plenty of open space, parks, sports fields, golf courses, kangaroos find it easy to move through these areas. To them, a cricket oval or football field is just another grazing ground. Now let's talk about what this means for people. On one hand, it feels magical. Imagine sipping your morning coffee and suddenly noticing a kangaroo calmly chewing grass on your front lawn. For many Australians, especially those who live near the edges of cities like Canberra, Bendigo, or parts of Queensland, this is a pretty common sight. It can be a great photo opportunity, something to brag about to friends overseas, and a reminder of how unique life in Australia can be. Not many countries have wild animals casually visiting neighborhoods like this. But on the other hand, kangaroos in suburban areas can also create challenges. For starters, kangaroos are big. A fully grown male kangaroo can be taller than a human with powerful muscles. They're not aggressive by default, but they can defend themselves if they feel threatened. So, finding one trapped in your backyard or staring through your sliding glass door can be intimidating. Pets, like dogs, often get overly curious or defensive around kangaroos, and this can create dangerous situations. Kangaroos have sharp claws and a powerful kick, and they know how to use them. Then there's the problem of road accidents. When kangaroos move through suburbs, they often cross busy streets. Kangaroo car collisions are common in Australia, especially at dawn and dusk when kangaroos are most active. It's not only a risk for the animal but also for drivers. This is why you see so many road signs warning about kangaroos. So, while kangaroos in backyards might look cute, their presence in suburban areas is also part of a bigger issue: how humans and wildlife share space. There's also the matter of gardens. If you're a passionate gardener who loves planting flowers or vegetables, a kangaroo visit might not be as magical. Kangaroos can quickly strip a garden bed, munch on flowers, or flatten young plants just by hopping around. Some homeowners have even had to build kangaroo-proof fences, which isn't exactly the look you dream of for your suburban home. Imagine explaining to your friends overseas, "Yeah, we don't build fences to keep burglars out, we build them to keep kangaroos from eating the roses." But why does this happen more in some suburbs than others? It mostly depends on geography. Suburbs built near bushland, nature reserves, or open paddocks are more likely to see kangaroos wandering through. In places like Canberra, kangaroos are practically part of the neighborhood, often spotted on front lawns or chilling under trees. In Victoria, Bendigo, and Ballarat also have suburbs where kangaroos show up quite often. Meanwhile, inner-city Melbourne or Sydney doesn't get the same visits because the distance from natural kangaroo habitats is too great. Climate plays a role too. During dry seasons, kangaroos are more likely to venture into suburban areas looking for water. On the other hand, in lush conditions they may stay happily in the bush. Population growth also matters. As more suburbs expand into previously rural areas, the overlap between kangaroo habitat and human living space increases. In other words, kangaroos aren't invading suburbs, we're the ones building suburbs into kangaroo land. One thing worth pointing out is how Australians react to kangaroos showing up in backyards. For newcomers, it's a mix of awe and surprise. For locals, it's often just another day in Australia. Kids might be excited, parents might grab their phones for a photo, and the dog probably won't stop barking. There are even funny stories of kangaroos getting trapped in swimming pools, hopping through schoolyards, or crashing backyard birthday parties. These stories often make the news because, let's face it, a kangaroo interrupting a game of backyard cricket is not something you see anywhere else in the world. However, wildlife experts always remind people not to approach or feed kangaroos. While they may look friendly, feeding them can change their natural behavior, making them more dependent on humans. And approaching them too closely can be dangerous, especially if it's a large male. The best advice is to watch from a safe distance, enjoy the experience and let them move on naturally. If a kangaroo is trapped or causing problems, local wildlife rescue groups are usually the right people to call. Kangaroos in suburban areas also raise interesting questions about conservation. Should we be creating more safe corridors for them to move through? How do we balance human development with the survival needs of wildlife? Some suburbs have started planning green belts and wildlife corridors to help reduce the conflict between people and kangaroos. These measures make it safer for both kangaroos and humans, while still allowing people to enjoy living close to nature. It's also worth noting that kangaroos are not just wandering aimlessly. They have strong instincts for survival. They'll go where food and water are available, and they'll use their incredible mobility to get there. That means suburban backyards will continue to be occasional pit stops as long as humans and kangaroos share the same space. It's part of what makes living in Australia unique. You can't exactly complain about city life being boring when a kangaroo decides to casually hop down your street. For many people overseas, kangaroos are exotic animals you only see in zoos or documentaries. But for Australians, the reality is quite different. Kangaroos are part of daily life, sometimes admired, sometimes cursed at, but always respected. Seeing one in your backyard can remind you just how different life in Australia is compared to the rest of the world. It's both a privilege and a challenge rolled into one. So next time you hear a thud in your garden at night and peek through the curtains, don't be surprised if it's not a burglar but a kangaroo snacking on your lawn. And remember, while it may be unusual, it's also one of the things that make life in Australia truly special. And before we wrap up, once again, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and comment below with your kangaroo encounters. Have you seen one in your street, your backyard, or even in a really unexpected place? Share your story because these experiences make Australia such a unique place to live.